So, tell me something terrible.
Are you going to make it?
All right, we got the last good yawn out of the way.
Okay. The rest of them are going to be bad yawns.
Yes.
Ready to get started?
Sure.
She's going to be a long one. And when I say a long one, I mean I purposefully split this up.
Did we decide a 2-part, 3-part?
There's going to be 3-part.
Mini-series?
Mini is going to be a mini
a
series.
7-part mini-series.
No, it could be.
Right?
But no, I think we're going to do 3. Mostly because, like, we could do 2, like, hour and a few minutes long episodes, I guess. But that seems really long. I feel like we should do 3, like, 45-minute episodes instead. Okay. So
I'm fine with that.
And I also only have it 2/3 of the way written.
That's a good enough reason.
Which also really stresses me out because it's not finished.
Yeah.
So I'm having like a little mini panic attack, like I'm doing something wrong.
When you don't finish?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, that's a terrible joke.
That's on you though.
Right? Also, this is our 80th episode.
It is.
So it's like the big milestone of our next deep dive.
Yeah. And usually people don't make it to 80 in marriage unless you were like wed as children. So
I was like, make it to 80 what in podcasting? I don't know.
No, wedding. So
I was gonna say the stat I heard is you don't make it to most podcasts don't make it to episode 7. That's like the cutoff.
Yeah.
Once you make it to 7, then you're just a shitstorm rolling on.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, you're at 80.
At least that's what we're going to tell ourselves.
We should figure out the day our first episode was posted.
Sometime in March.
Yeah, I know. It should be soonish.
Yeah. Oh, shit. You're right. Very soonish. I would like... We're going to put this out there. Message us. What's your... Either on Facebook, comment on Facebook, or email us at tell me something terrible podcast at gmail.com.
Rolls are off the tongue.
Scott couldn't come up with a shorter email address.
I could. I didn't want to.
Well, I think it'd be fun to do like an AMA get to know your host things because we never did that.
We never did that?
Yeah. So if you have any cues like on us, if we're really that interesting and valid in your life, or just maybe don't ask us.
Our first episode came out March 9th.
Oh, shoot.
Which is...
like 2 weeks from now.
A Wednesday, randomly. I think we should do a live Twitch on that day.
Okay.
It doesn't even have to be a podcast. We'll just do whatever.
We'll do something.
Okay. Tentatively set your schedules for March 9th.
Yeah.
Details to follow. We'll try to come up with the details this week.
Look, I worked 6 days this week.
Right?
All like 6. Yeah, 6 days. I'm done.
It's
You
Sunday.
guys are lucky you're getting a podcast this week at this point. Oh, hey, who are we?
Uh-oh.
I'm Tiffany.
I'm Scott.
And you're listening to Tell Me Something Terrible.
Yeah, you are. I like how you asked me that. As soon as I was mid-yawn, you're like...
Look, you said you were done with the good yawns. I thought we would incorporate a bad yawn.
One, what do they call that? Call and respond or whatever?
Yeah, call and respond.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We have one thing in the whole podcast. And you're like, as soon as he starts one yawn, I'm going to be like, hey, I'm blah, blah, blah. Who are you? And then I'm going to be like, I can't speak. My mouth is unhinged.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Open a little wider for me.
Creepy.
Sorry. Hold on. I have to take a swig of this.
I was told, well, I kind of know the topic this time because she's talked about it for forever.
It's also one of your favorite topics.
I don't know if it's one of my favorite topics, but it's one of those topics that's every podcast. It's like you have to kind of cover it.
It's a classic.
Yeah, in all the wrong ways.
Yeah.
But yeah. Go ahead.
So, he's getting one more bad yawn in. It's because he drank wine.
I don't know what happened. I don't know what
happened.
You drank wine. I've been fine all day. And then as soon as we hit record, my body's like, nope, bro, you have to yawn 7 times in the last 4 minutes. And it's because you keep doing it too.
No, it's contagious.
I promise.
There are people that are trying to listen to us on their way to work and we're fucking it up.
Right? They just crawled out of bed. They snoozed too many times. They took the worst shower ever.
Yes.
Yeah, it was like 3 minutes. Just, all the stinky...
Luckily, they managed to get their ass cracked
all the stinky parts. Yep. They're like, whatever.
We called those... my mom called those whore baths.
Yeah?
Or PTA baths. Pits, tits, and ass.
Yeah.
Yep. I was raised in the trailer park.
See, mine are going faster because I avoid the tits. Anyway.
Just pits and ass.
Yeah. Yep.
It's a PDA bath. God, I hate you. Don't laugh like that.
That was actually pretty good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, I feel so validated.
It's because you don't know what the PBA is.
It's golf, right?
PBA?
Yeah.
Isn't PBA... Wait. PBA is professional... No, it's PBR is professional bull riding. PGA is golf.
Oh, damn.
PBA...
Is nothing.
Professional Bowling Association? I think it's the PBA.
Is it bowling?
It's Professional Bowler Association.
You should know.
Yes.
You bowled.
I have a registered handicap in the Professional Bowler Association.
Look at you go, you old man.
At least I used to. I used to have I have a patch somewhere. They used to send, if you're part of the PBA, they send you patches for milestones.
Please stop. You're not helping our relationship.
No, I have a 200 game patch from the PBA.
Nope, this isn't working.
No, they take your stuff and they send you.
All right.
Anyway,
divorce.
If you look in the PBA registry, my 174,
from like 2005.
my 174 average holds strong in there, which amongst bowlers is like, but like non-bowlers, like your average is 174. I've never even gotten that. It's like, yeah.
I'm lucky if I get to 100.
I spent an entire summer legitimately bowling. It was great.
With a bunch of old people.
Yeah, and I'm not even that good. But then if you go bowl with people that really suck, they're like, oh, you're really good. And I'm like, no.
I'm average.
I'm just not as bad as you.
As someone who managed to get a gutter ball with bumpers.
Okay, but if you spend an entire
to be fair, I was 12.
My 18-year-old summer, I bowled a lot because I was like, what? That's a normal thing to do. Don't judge me. Rock and Bowl and I peaked at the same time. It was like every weekend, 12 to 2.
And then you joined the league with your dad.
No, I would sub in my dad's league. My mom and dad's couples league, I would sub in when I was a child. That was not when I was 18. That was when I was a child. Anyway.
I'm so glad I didn't know this before we started being friends and dating. Otherwise, I would have been like, this is not happening.
This is some of the most...
He's funny and all, but I don't think I can get over that.
I was going to say, this is some of the more embarrassing content we put on this podcast, which is saying a lot.
I don't know. I had a really dumb story about how people clapped afterwards, which was like a hacky, like, you're lying, you're just for attention on the internet thing, except it like really did happen, and that just makes it even more awkward. So I don't think I thought you were going to bring up your
taxidermy story. Anyway.
No.
All right, go ahead.
The trope behind that story was worse.
I'm going to grab the Cheez-Its because I have pork rinds, but they will crunch so loud that people think there's earthquakes in Michigan. And then we can start our actual topic.
Yes.
Go for it.
So I've been talking about like doing this as a deep dive for a while now. So we're going to finally get to like one of Scott's favorite mysteries solely because he saw it on an Expedition Unknown.
Whoa, I'd heard of it before then. One of the podcasts I listened to covered it.
Probably MFM.
Did they cover it?
Mm-hmm. But it was like a half-hour blurb.
Early in MFM, though.
Yeah.
Okay, yep. Then I definitely heard it there.
Yep. I already knew about Dyatlov Pass because...
Which is the topic.
Yes, which is the topic. Dyatlov Pass Incident, because I love this sort of like weird...
Unsolved.
We'll get...
Unsolved-ish.
No, it was technically solved.
No. Spoiler alerts.
But that's not going to be till part 3.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I have just over 6 pages, or just over 5 pages, so like 6.25 pages written so far, and I haven't gotten to the conspiracy theories and additional evidence.
For most people, just over 5 is not 6.25, but you're really good at math.
Okay, look, I changed my font size so that I didn't waste a quarter of a paper. Anyway, it's gonna be
of a paper,
a deeper dive than usual. Mm-hmm. It's not gonna be like the cults where we broke it up. I don't know. I really like this topic. It hits like everything, like unsolved mysteries. Could possibly be a murder. It's definitely like a lot of conspiracy theories. There's definitely a lot of like distrust of the Russian government, which is a pretty hot topic right now.
Unfounded, yes.
It's not. We'll
That's
get to
sarcasm.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's rooted. But then again, if you know anything about MK Ultra, which is another hella fascinating, and like a
we
podcast,
need to get a couple bottles of that MK Ultra wine we had.
Yes.
And then we can.
Oh, I was so excited. So there's one podcast that I listen to right now. They're in the depths of the deep dive of MK Ultra, and they are three like almost 2-hour episodes in, and they probably have another 2 to go.
Yeah, we're not that. We have full-time jobs.
Yes, we do. So this is my like I think more true deep dive than what we call deep dives into Dyatlov Pass, because it's going to be kind of a big one.
Okay. Are you going to cover like an because
overarching first?
Dyatlov Pass to us is like common in our vernacular. Like
we've discussed this.
Yes. But most people I found out that don't listen to like the podcast we listen to have never probably heard of Dyatlov Pass.
Which is shocking because it is a worldwide incident where literally every fucking person in the whole planet like has heard of Dyatlov Pass because it's really famous. It's up there with the more famous. So
yep.
Shout at your phone if you've heard things. I'm going to leave some things out because I have shit I have to talk to you about later. Like I said, I have just over 5 pages written now. There's probably going to be another 3 pages to go.
Okay.
So, it's going to be a multi-parter. We're going to break it up into bits. And I also am going to apologize now because I'm going to slaughter the hell out of all of their names. Even
100%.
After listening. I've listened to like 3+ hours of documentaries on these guys. I'm still going to fuck it up.
Yep. And because of if you don't have, this is my PSA on subscription services. Because there's like 9,000 of them now. Get Discovery
Plus.
Okay,
absolute best one.
Get Discovery Plus for like 2 months. It's like $4 with commercials, like $8 without. Anywho, just binge through all the Expedition Unknowns.
They're amazing.
And then you'll pretty much be my best friend because that's all I
literally really want to be Scott's best friend.
Right? And I literally, like, I was working out today and I was watching Expedition X, which is like his side project with 2 other people. And it's like into the more like paranormally stuff.
Yes.
Have you ever watched it?
No.
There's these 2 people.
We watched the stuff that he did during quarantine together.
Oh, the Expedition Tonight or whatever. But there's these 2 people, Jessica and Phil. Phil's a scientist. Jessica's a paranormal investigator. He sends them out to like research, do deeper dives and whatever into these like more paranormally cryptidy, weirder stuff.
Yes.
Because they like have that juxtaposition of she's a believer, he's a scientist. So it's very much like a you and me dynamic. But anyway, but so he sends them out to like
I believe in the Fae, and he's all like, no.
But anyway, so the Expedition Next is what because I've watched all the Expedition Knowns like twice, and so now I've moved on to that. But anyway, so the most useful,
which is another reason why we decided to split this up into like different episodes because he's probably gonna have a lot more input than usual. Yeah,
because I actually am familiar with this topic because I've watched those episodes at least once. Okay. Anyway, go about your business.
No, your plug for people that already make millions of dollars.
Just get Discovery Plus. Watch Expedition Unknown or Destination Fear. That's our favorite ghosty show. If you want to go show. Anyway, go ahead with your stuff.
Okay.
And they keep showing advertisements to watch my whatever 9,000 pound life or whatever.
Ugh,
but
no,
I don't think that's actually what it's called.
It's a 600 pound life.
9,000.
Yeah, totally 600, 9,000.
It's 15 people that are all 600 pounds.
Yep. So
that's 9,000 in case you're.
Thank you. Math. It's hard. So I'm going to start up front with the sources so that I don't have to do them again the next couple of episodes.
Okay.
So I used Wikipedia because I needed a comprehensive short version of it because there's so much information. I just needed a quick synopsis.
Spark notes?
Yeah, of the situation. And it still wound up, I still actually got very good information apart from just a quick synopsis from them. And then I also went to www.dyatlovpass.com, which you have been to.
Yes.
It is literally everything. She wrote a book. There is side articles and information that you need for each chapter in that book. Mm-hmm. Like it has every single piece of paper translated from Russian to English that is, and like backstories to all the hikers, like interviews. It is fucking insane. I started copying, pasting all the information, and after like the third tab, like the third drop down in the menu on the first tab, I was already at 17 pages of information. I was like, well, this is something I cannot...
So Dyatlov is
insane.
It's ran by a lady who Josh Gates and Expedition goes on, goes to Dyatlov Pass with.
Her and one guy named Yuden. Fuck. He's also in the Expedition Unknown, and he's quoted a lot in the one documentary that I watched, and in this. He's also like those two are like the experts in it. They've been studying it for decades. What I think is crazy
is she's an expert in it, and she wrote all this stuff. The first time she ever actually went to Dyatlov Pass was with him.
Yeah.
Which is the crazy part, because she's like, that's like her life's work is this like website with all like these documents and all this research.
But she's just like probably some chick who has nothing better to do. She probably like it's also communist Russia.
It's also really
get there.
Really fucking hard to get to.
Really,
like it's
in modern day. Like it still took them 100%. 2 days to get there. In trucks and trains and snowmobiles.
In what kind of trucks? Soviet fucking like war trucks.
Yes. Because it's a communist country. There's not a lot of advancements.
Wood burners in the back.
Yeah. And it still took them like 2 or 3 days to get there on snowmobiles. And these people cross-country skied. It took them like 6 or 7 days to get to the spot where they stored their shit, and then a day to get up the slope where they died. Like, they started on like the 20th. Fuck, I'll get to it. It doesn't matter.
Yep. I was going to say, you should probably start your actual words here.
So Dyatlov.pass.com, which is the ultimate source. And then also, like you said, the keeper of the website, her name is Teddy. She was on Expedition Unknown, which is season 7, episode 4 and 5, in case you give a shit. And lastly, a podcast episode from BBC documentary titled The Dyatlov Pass Mystery, which had interviews from people that were there. And that Uden guy who went and saw who went to the funerals of like the first initial 5 found.
Okay.
I'm going to get to that eventually too in the third part, where we talk about like the aftermath and like other people's interviews and shit.
The next 2 episodes.
Look, bro, I got into this, like I already knew kind of like a lot, and then I got into it and I was like, oh my God, this can't be only 2 parts. Otherwise, I would just rush through it and you would have nothing to say.
Well, that, and I'm like, if we have 2 2-hour episodes, like, A, that's not fun for us to make or produce. And that's a lot of ask out of our like listeners.
Yes.
Like, hey, guys.
Like, oh, the whole point is like 45-minute episodes, right?
Yeah. Or like, remember when we started, it was 2 half-hour episodes a week? Well, we blew the lid off of that. And now we're like 1 1-hour episode a week.
I also am very busy now. Like I said, I worked 6 days this week.
That was quarantine. Yeah, that was a different
7
time.
days technically, because Murphy and I my best friend, I did a thing. So anyway. I've been touching a lot of people a lot this week.
That's out of context. That's her job.
I touch people.
And she's an esthetician. She does skincare.
Yeah. Not inappropriately. I'm not like a fluffer or anything. So, I'm not a fluffer. And you're like, maybe.
No, I just want to be like, well, you touch inappropriate areas, kind of, but it's...
With gloves.
And consent.
Yes. Both important.
And wax.
Yes. So,
which also... Anyway.
So this case was technically solved currently, which we will cover at the end, but it's known as the Dyatlov Pass Incident. Mm-hmm. So this was kind of shuffled away in top secret archives inside the Soviet Russia.
Okay.
So the families were sus of the military because they were told after the funerals of their children, quote, "You'll never know the truth, so stop asking questions." And this was according to, I believe it was Igor Dyatlov's sister, who the pass was ultimately named after Igor Dyatlov because he headed the group of hikers.
Yep.
So when Soviet Russia fell in the 90s, the silence was finally broken and investigators came forward with their stories, like lead investigators of the whole case. People came forward, documents were released, and most of the documents have been released, but some of which have been like heavily redacted, and there's still a large handful of evidence and reports to the case that have been kept as classified and have not been released to the public. But Russia insists it was an avalanche.
Okay.
So we're going to get to it.
Yep. I was going to say, for everyone who doesn't have any like background in this, or like, what do you mean it was an avalanche?
We'll get to it. So according to one Russian expert on the case interviews by the BBC, no one can keep their mouths shut in Russia once people start like drinking. And usually when something like suspicious happens within the government, such as like a cover-up, the authorities would just show up to families' houses and hand them a gag order and then fully hide away every stitch of evidence like this group never existed. So that's according to one person that was interviewed in a documentary. They were like, no, this can't be a cover-up because one would have talked. 2, You never would have known that any of these people ever were fucking born if it was a cover-up from the Russian government, because the Russian government is that fucking scary.
We'll keep everything, yeah.
Yeah, there's a reason why the two superpowers right now is us and Russia, which I would have said that a month ago before everything that's going on. And now you're like, oh no, we're going to have another Cold War.
All the Ukrainian tension.
Look.
It's affecting my stock market if you could not.
Yeah.
Although
Chill.
we double down on our metal stock. So if we get a war,
I fucking told you.
We might be all right
you were
for
like,
retirement.
You were like, SDI, their stocks dropped to $43 a share. And I'm like, buy it.
Yeah.
Buy it right now.
I've been watching it.
I
It's
literally-
been on my market watch.
It was
tab.
dipped. And then he goes, should I invest in it? And I said, yeah, it's going to be fluctuated, but it's probably going to go up some point. Don't worry. And this was like in the 2 months peacetime that we've had between one war and this next weird war we have going on. And I was like, don't worry. We'll be at war again soon. And then literally 2 days fucking later, they're like, Ukraine. I was like, fuck.
Troops are on the move. We're like,
Shit.
oh,
Well-
that's no bueno.
I wasn't wrong.
Yeah. No, it's, yeah.
So,
I was checking my portfolio to see how much our stock's up in there.
please don't. It's really not that much, guys. It's only a few $1,000s because
No,
we're still
I was
not
just looking at
poor, but
percentage.
we're not that
Hey,
poor.
we are up almost 19% on that stock.
Woo!
That's
so
pretty-
it's $1,020.
No,
I'm
that's
just
not how
kidding.
any of that works. Anyway.
So I know how the stock market works. So all of this hasn't stopped the Dyatlov Pass from being like the entire world's favorite mystery to come up with conspiracy theories. So I'll tell you the basics about the case, and then later we can talk about the more confusing evidence, and then we can discuss a few of the more popular of the 75 plus conspiracy theories behind the incident.
Oh, those are rookie numbers. We got to pump those up. I need a solid hundo out of you.
So, because there's one in particular of yours that I enjoy, which is why I wanted to do this. Don't spoil it.
I don't even really remember it. The words
With the gulags.
Yeah, no, I know.
Because I said, oh, it's not prisoners.
Anyway, go ahead.
So, Igor Dyatlov was a part of the sportsman club at Ural Polytechnical Institute.
UPI.
Yes. Yep, UPI. Him and a group of fellow classmates, some that were still in school, some recently graduated, made plans to get further certification in hiking. So they were already classified
It's a
as
Boy Scout badge.
Yeah, if the Boy Scouts were dropped in the middle of a snowy tundra and said, hey, go survive on this matchsticks and snowshoes.
It's the Russian college version of a Boy Scout badge.
Which is way more intense than an Eagle Scout in the United States.
Well, no shit. These are not children, and it's Russia. You don't think it's more intense?
Yeah, they're literally dropped in the tundra.
Yeah.
So,
Which is pretty much Russia.
yes, yeah. So they were certified at class 2. All
Russia
of these
to
people.
me is like if Minnesota got it engorged. That's what Russia is. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the best adjective I can.
And we have a friend who legit was like, let's go hiking, and would pack a bag and just walk into the fucking woods and tent in the woods where there's bears and other shit in Minnesota.
That's the best thing you can hope for in Russia. Just a
Bears.
harmless bear, yeah.
Not aliens or Yetis or whatever it is they think did this. So
Yeah.
they were all certified at class 2. They wanted to get their third class 3 certification.
Like good third-degree burn.
Yep.
What?
We'll get there. So, literally, it has fucking everything, this story.
It does. This is why everybody has covered it.
So they wanted to go on what was classified as a class 3 hike. The university required that they documented their entire pre-approved 300-kilometer adventure.
I speak empirical. What was that?
What did you say? It's 3 kilometers
So that was a
for
5K,
every mile, roughly.
5K divided... my microphone. Divided by 60. So 3.1 divided by 60. So I don't know. I lost myself in the math.
A lot.
Yep.
More than 100 miles adventure. So the group...
180?
Sure. Let's go with that.
I have no idea.
180-mile rough trek. So that's to get, and there were certain numbers of nights you had to spend in the cold and certain types of conditions. You had to log all of this stuff.
300 kilometers to miles. 186. Look at my mental math. It's not half bad.
No.
I don't care how much bottles of wine I've had. That's pretty decent.
Only
That's
one.
pretty decent math.
That's decent math.
When
sober.
I said 186, you're like, ooh, you seemed impressed.
I was, which is stupid because I should know by now.
Yeah.
So the group of 10 brought along cameras and journals to track and log their little foray.
And you can see all these pictures online. It's great.
You can.
I know.
Yeah. So it was required that they spend a set amount of nights in the cold without heat. So I'm just kind of like, are you gonna make it? Did you swallow wrong? We need to pause. You're gonna have an asthma attack. Okay. So I just wanted to lay some groundwork with what exactly was going on here, because people are like, why didn't they start the stove? I'm like, well, because they had goals they had to meet on this.
You had to come
hike.
as close to dying as possible for the Russians to be like, fine.
I guess you're good enough.
You're an Eagle Scout now.
So the students that made up this group of hikers were Igor Dyatlov, who was 23.
Yep.
He was the leader of the pack. I think he studied engineering.
And he drug his right leg. Oh, that's Igor.
Walk this
that's
way.
Igor. Sorry.
So there's
Dr. Frankenstein.
Frankenstein.
Sorry.
So there was Yuri Doren. I was so confident in my head. I've been saying their names.
Doroshenko.
Yes, it's Yuri Doroshenko.
I know it is.
He was 21.
There's very little I remember, but I do remember how to say his last name because he comes up a lot.
Yes, because he was one of the first ones found.
Yeah.
So then there's Ludmila Dubanina.
Nailed it.
Grigory Koronashenko. Alexander Kolevatov, Zinaida Galmagorova.
This is our Russian hockey team episode
all over again, but worse. And then Rustam Slobodan, Nikolai Rustam with an
name.
M.
Mm-hmm.
Slobodan, Nikolai Thibo Brignoles, and then Semyon Zolotorov. He was the oldest. So all of these people are like 23 and younger, 24 and younger. Semyon, okay, so I figured it out because I remember listening to one podcast and they're like, we don't really know where this guy came from. That's a lie. He was an instructor. He was like a lead hiker. So other groups would also try to meet these classifications.
Every time I've seen this, he does seem like he almost gives out, like, just because like they are all college age, he gives off like the creepy old guy vibe.
Because he's 40.
Yeah.
But there's a reason. It's because he's a certified...
I never knew this part.
He's a certified... Good. I was hoping there was some stuff I would tell you that you didn't know already. So the reason why he was such an outlier was because I'll actually tell you right now.
I was going to say, just keep reading, right?
Yep. So, and then there was another...
I'm just going to tell her to keep reading like 40 times in these 3 episodes, people.
So there was a 10th one. His name was Yuri Yudin. But Yuri Yudin lucked out. On day 2 of the trip, his back was hurting from like sciatica, like nerve pain. He had a lot of other physical health issues, but he wanted to try to make this trek anyway. But by day 2, he was in such excruciating pain. He was like, peace. Sorry.
Yep. His spidey sense was like, this ain't going to end well.
No. So every one of these young adults, in a lot of the stuff that I was watching and listening to, they kept referring to them as children. Which, of course, like...
They're in their 20s.
Yes, exactly. Like me, who's like... Millennials have been vilified as like the children that are ruining the world, even though we're still in our 30s. So I just have this... we're in our 30s now, so I have this visceral reaction to like being called a child when they're in their 20s.
When we have children.
Yes, and also, they're still Russian outdoorsmen. I don't give a shit if they're 16 or 45. Right, yeah. They're still Russian.
Yeah.
In the snow. Like... They're going to outlive any American ever. We live in such a cozy...
They're not doing like a backpacking tour between Airbnbs. Like, no. This is intense
legit.
Shit.
Yeah. So...
I say that because we're going to an Airbnb soon and like going to go hiking, but like the most pedestrian hiking.
Yeah, it's going to be in a park. Like a national park.
Yeah, and you
with
have
like marked signs.
You have like spa days planned and shit. Yeah,
I haven't scheduled it yet, but yes.
Still, yeah, it's gonna not be like this where we're like, we might die, but we're gonna get a sticker. Woo!
So, I do need a sticker for my Yeti cup, though.
I know it's not gonna be like an actual sticker or like an actual badge on a dumb vest, but that's what it feels like they're going for.
Yeah. And so all of them except for the Semyon guy, which I think is probably like Russian for Simon.
Nope.
Anyway, all of them went to school together.
Simeon
So the
says.
biggest outlier is the Simeon Says. He's also the most mysterious group, like the mysterious member of the group. He preferred to go by Sasha. He fought in this really big war for Russia.
Which one?
I don't know. It had a different name. It was just a Russian war.
Okay.
I didn't look into it because there's a lot of other shit. Doesn't matter. He used to be in the military, and then he joined a military engineering school, and then found himself at this place called Minsk Institute of Physical Education and became a sports instructor at a tour base, because these are literally skiing and hiking tours.
You know what the biggest warning about Russian wars is, right? All the red flags.
Leave.
Sorry. I had to get that joke
Right
out
now.
at some point.
Leave.
Nope. That's the only
Podcast is done. It's over.
episode 80 at 30 minutes. Just boom.
Fuck
we just
you.
go silent.
Silent.
Yeah,
He's done.
This
The
gets
end.
edited as 30 minutes, but the last 30 minutes is just silence.
Silence. I'm like, oh my God,
Just
I
the-
wonder what happened.
just the
He's
muffled-
buried in a red flag, guys.
Just the muffled noises of our chairs scooching in and us walking away. That'd be pretty theatrical.
I am. What did you call me when I did some
I was gonna
over
say-
exaggerated, unintentionally dramatic? I believe is the word you used to describe me one time.
Probably, yeah.
Not probably. I 100%.
I mean,
remember.
seems fitting. Yes, do tell.
So,
I was gonna say, when you start a sentence with "What did you call me one time?" Well, this could go a lot of ways.
not stupid, and that's all that matters.
Yes.
So, because everything else is going to be true, but I feel like I'm not dumb. I could also be biased. Anyway, he was a sports instructor at a tour base because a
He was
lot
a
of
gym
these,
teacher.
these,
Just kidding.
yeah, no, look, a lot of these places where people would, because this was a hub where other groups would go out on different types of
This is Polytechnical University
of
or
hiking
institute.
trips.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they literally called them tours because there was one documentary that I was watching or listening to where they kept talking about the hikers and they didn't call them hikers. They kept calling them tourists.
Huh.
Like, that's what the fuck they do in Russia. They're like, we're bored. Let's go hike a mountain pass with snow that's 15 feet deep. And we're going to call it tourism.
Did you go hike Mount Everest? No, I was just a tourist for the summit. That's all.
Legit. Like, Russia is fucking scary.
Uh-huh.
Maybe we shouldn't pick a war with them.
Well, they think vodka's water, so just kidding. Anyway.
Yeah, anyway, so he was an instructor at a tour base, and then he wound up moving to the Sverdlovsk region and became a senior.
Beautiful area.
Thank you. So he became a senior tourism.
You, like
Thank you.
own that place.
Yes, I am wearing a gray robe. We are drinking vodka. So yes, I am one of with the Russian people.
Right?
So this is where he became a senior tourism instructor for the.
I just imagine old people when you say senior tour.
Because he's like.
Like he's dragging 8-year-olds out in the snow.
So he became an instructor at the Koravka tour base, which is where the Dyatlov group left from. Which is why he was with them, because he was taking them as like a guide, like when you take an acid trip. And not
Like
like
a
either of us
shaman?
know. Yes, like a shaman on their tour.
Or like when you go to a national park and there's tour guides.
Yes.
Like that seems
it's
much
like
more
that,
fitting.
but in the snow,
And not
in
so
the tundra.
drug-induced.
Look, I've been listening to some really rough shit. So, he actually tragically died on his birthday, which is February 2nd, which is the night of the incident.
Also known as his death day.
Yeah. Oh, how it's perfect.
Is it?
Yes.
I don't know about that.
I would love to die on my birthday.
Life is a circle for some.
Yes.
Anyway.
I would love to die on my birthday.
Would you?
If I'm 89 and it is May
Yeah.
22nd and I'm still alive,
Just life support
somebody
harass.
needs to
Yeah.
come find me
Like,
and
no.
end it all. I'd really
Oh,
appreciate
you
it.
should- I was saying like drag you to the finish line, not like cut you off early.
No. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter. 89 sounds really good.
Does it?
Yep. And just if May 22nd, if I'm still alive, kill me. I would like to die on my birthday.
Okay. The year is 2078. No. Yes.
Would it be?
Yep.
Jesus Christ.
What?
You're just. We're gonna order a headstone. We're gonna put it in the corner. It's gonna say May 22nd, 1989 dash May 22nd.
Have you ever seen those
2078.
horrible calendars? They're like you fill in the dots, and it's like a row of 52 weeks, and there's like 100 of them, and you fill it out as you go, and it's like a timeline essentially to how like let's say you're gonna make it to 100. It's like a a meter bar of how far you are along. And like every week you fill in a dot and like see it fill up as you go. You ever seen those?
No.
Right?
No, I've been going through a midlife crisis since I hit 19. That sounds horrible.
Every Saturday you're like, I'll just fill in this dot on my death board.
I made it another fucking week in this hellscape that's the United States.
Oh, look, I'm 50. My board's half full. In an optimistic world, I'll fill in the rest of this. Or the next 50-some dots. Anyway.
That's so sad.
Someone I follow on YouTube has one.
Why?
I don't know. It makes him kind of like... he claims it's
a nihilist.
It makes It makes him appreciate every day because he knows every day is like.
He clearly doesn't have a mental disorder.
Clearly,
because
he gets a lot of sunshine and exercise.
Thinking about that is giving me some like panic.
He gets a lot of sunshine and exercise and rarely drinks. There's probably something to that.
That's a lot coming from people that live in Michigan in the county that literally gets the least amount of sun.
And we don't get to be YouTubers. We're not #influencers.
Fuck those people.
Right? We're a podcast that needs all the Patreon support we can get it. Patreon.com/tellmesomethingterrible.
Or reviews on anything.
Oh, yeah. Spotify has reviews now.
Ooh,
if you listen to us on Spotify,
that.
will you 5-star us?
Yeah. Or 3 stars. Just don't 1 star us. That's really all I give a shit.
I think we're worth a 4-star.
You think?
I don't know for 5-star.
Absolutely not.
Maybe 4-star.
No. If we're with 3 stars, I'll still be happy. Middle of the road.
Okay.
Slightly under the radar. Just like a good Midwesterner.
I gave us a 5-star, so if everyone gives a 3, we'll be above 3. We'll be like a 3.1. We'll be fine.
It's not skewed at all.
Anyway, go ahead.
Distracted. So.
Read your paper, lady.
The group set out by train, traveling to Ivdel and arriving in the early morning of January 25th, 1959. Because I realize now this is like the first time I've said what year this is going on.
Yep. My dad was 4. So is my mom. They were born the same year.
Were they really? How cute.
Is it?
I was going to say we were born the same year, but that's a lie.
No, we're the same age for like 4 days.
Yep. So from there, they took a truck ride to Vijay.
Ooh.
So they had some lunch with another group from their school that was going on a separate hike because this was like a hub for everybody to separate and go probably die.
Everyone meet at the Vag.
Yep.
Vijay.
Vijay, not the
Vagi.
The Vagi. So
do you remember the Magi? When I say that, I think of...
You mean like the mummy?
Yes.
Yeah.
You do too? Okay, good. I was like...
No, but that's like the most popular. Yeah.
I love the original.
So when
mummy.
I think of the Magi, it reminds me of the Daughters of the Moon series. So if anybody's ever read that, yeah, exactly.
Anyway, The Mummy's a great movie.
It is
the
a good
OG.
one.
Whatever after that, Scorpion King, The Rock, get out of here. OG Mummy. I know.
Isn't the first guy that played whatever the guy is, the mummy in The Mummy, looks a lot like the lead singer of Disturbed. Is that him?
Disturbed?
Yes.
I thought I was going to say Smashing Pumpkins.
Really?
Just because he's bald.
Well, so's the guy from Disturbed.
I've never seen the guy from The Mummy in anything else.
Okay. Well,
I'm gonna Google it
great.
and it's gonna be like fucking Ed Hardy because he's in everything.
So anyway, while Scott's Googling some obscure
His
Hollywood
name's
fact.
Arnold Vosloo.
Is he Russian?
He's South African.
Oh.
He's a bodybuilder?
What?
His third picture's him in like a fucking Schwarzenegger pose. Anywho, go about your life.
All right. So now you know the guy who played the mummy in the first Mummy is a bodybuilder.
He was in Blood Diamond.
Oh, that's a really horrible movie that makes you want to just kind of run off of a
He was
bridge.
in Agent Cody Banks.
Oh my god! Wait, stop! Isn't Agent Cody Banks fucking Malcolm in the Middle?
Yes.
Frankie Muniz?
Yes. I don't know what else he was in.
So he's a B-list actor, a D-list actor at this point.
He peaked in The Mummy. Let's just say that.
They took a truck ride to Vijay, and they took some lunch with another group from their school that was going on a separate hike somewhere other than up to Mount Ortatan, or the Mountain of Death, which is where this particular group was headed.
Okay.
So then they caught a truck and headed to the last... See, I fucked this up. I shouldn't have read this. Anyway, Vijay is the last human inhabited village before the Ural Mountains.
Okay.
And so the group officially started their journey on January 27th. So by the morning of January 28th, the only survivor of the group...
It'd be funny if they were the Urethra Mountains, but anyway.
with
Vagi and then Ural. Yeah, sorry.
It's so bad. So they officially started their journey on January 27th, and then by the morning of the 28th, the only survivor of the group, Yuri Yurden, was like, oh shit, I'm an old man, and decided he needed to leave because of his sciatica.
My back.
So before Yuri headed back, Igor Dyatlov told him that the trip will most likely take longer to return from than the initially planned date of February 12th.
Okay.
So not to expect his telegram that he planned on sending from Vijay until after, like shortly after February 12th, which is why no one raised the alarm about the missing students until much later.
Until when?
Much later. We'll get to it.
Okay. I just was hoping it was like today.
It is really close.
I know. That's what I was hoping.
Shit, what's today?
The 20th?
It is really close.
I
That's
know.
why I decided to do Dyatlov Pass this month.
Yeah.
So the group spent the next couple of days cross-country... cross-country skiing.
Cross-crunk, going back to 2006.
So they were logging their trip. They were taking photos of the landscape and one another, joking around and having as good a time as you can have in like the dozens of feet of snow in the Russian tundra. So
Do you bring up the one picture where it looks like there's like Bigfoot behind one of them?
We will fucking get to it in the third part I haven't written yet. That's why I'm stressed out.
Because I'm just going to keep putting... No, this is just foreshadowing.
Just Easter eggs.
Easter eggs. It is almost Easter. We're just a big fictional bunny shitting Easter eggs along this whole episode.
So they even made a satirical flyer about Death Mountain and the Yetis.
Yeah.
Which was found at the tent along with literally everything else. Their food, clothes, coats, axes, knives, journals, cameras, and shoes that were placed outside of the tent, and their stove, which was unassembled and used. Or unused. It's just one of those things that like led to the Yeti theory, because they made like a pamphlet about it, because like it's the tundra. People are going to have Yeti lore. Like we live in Michigan and there's Yeti lore here.
Yep.
So eventually the group found themselves at Kholat Syakhl.
Okay.
What do you think?
I think you nailed it. Kholat, yeah.
Yeah, totally. You didn't want to try it?
Nope.
So
you did a fine job.
So their destination of Mount Ortotten was approximately 6.2 miles away. That just goes to show you just how fucking close they made it.
That's 10 kilometers.
Yeah, I think, away.
5K is 3.1 miles, so.
You're right.
I know.
And I ran cross country too.
Rarely do I know, but in this one case, I know.
So here at this like edge of the like slope up this little mountain, they stashed the majority of their supplies, the food, some clothing, wood to come back to once they traversed the pass and made it to more Torton.
Nope.
And back. And this is where things start to finally get confusing. Everything's pretty straightforward.
Let's get weird.
This is the day before shit hit the fan. Mm-hmm. So the group set off along the pass. They made it only 1,500 meters up the slope, away from the protective tree line in the valley, and for some unknown reason, they decided that here is where they were going to pitch their tent, halfway up the slope.
Hey, sometimes you don't know when you're going to pitch a tent. It just happens.
Just like every middle school
Teenage boy,
yeah.
Dances were a nightmare.
Were they? Is that why they wanted us to have like the arm lengths keep room for Jesus? Because they didn't want your boners touching us?
That's why a lot of dudes wore hoodies to dances. I'll tell you that much. What?
Having an existential crisis over here.
It's easy to hide a boner in a hoodie. You just like...
For those of you listening.
For all you 15-year-old boys listening, it's a pro tip. Have a way to have your hand in a hoodie pocket and be able to hold your boner to the side. You're not there. Go away. And you're like, oh shit, I'm touching it. Now it's going to be worse. Why is that girl shaking her ass? Stop it.
I do very specifically remember dancing to Britney Spears' I'm a Slave for You when I was like 13. And I wonder where my trauma comes from.
Right? I have a beard hair on my mic. Hold, please. Okay, we're good.
So, They decided to pitch the tent along the slope. One
of my favorite places to pitch the tent.
So some people speculate that Igor Dyatlov didn't want to lose what little ground that they gained during this storm that was raging.
To go to some flat ground?
No, yes, to go back down the hill like that. Like, because 1,500 kilometers is like a mile. And they were in the middle of a storm. So the storm had started during the day. They managed to progress it a mile up this slope. And they didn't want to have to turn back around. And then also they had to trek they had to record certain nights that were spent in the cold in this kind of weather for their certification. So they were like,
Eagle Scout badge.
Yes. So they were like, this is probably why they didn't set up their heater.
There's no accountability for this. Just say, yeah, we did it.
I mean, we don't know if Semyon is a snitch or not.
Oh, it's true. He's the 40-year-old, yeah.
Yeah. You can't trust 40-year-old guys.
Right.
Either way, this is the night where all of these mysterious events unfold. The temperature that night had plummeted to negative 25 degrees Celsius, which is negative 19 for those of us who live in this back-assward country. Which, if you want to know how cold that is, remember a few years ago when everything froze and businesses had to shut down and ice was growing on the inside of your windows and doors?
Growing.
Yes.
That's how ice does.
Spreading.
No, it grows.
In March, 3 years ago, it was that.
Was it March?
Yes.
I
had to go to work. I had to shove towels against the exit door, literally 3 towels to stop the ice and the draft from coming through.
Yeah.
It was so cold.
And just pitching a tent on a slope, freezing your balls off.
It was a facial, but okay.
I meant
no, I had
Igor and his friends.
No, I remember being in that room and it was so cold. I put 3 blankets on top of my clients to try to keep them warm.
Yeah,
it was miserable, and that was in modern day amenities.
Like you were in a crypt.
God, so spoiled.
Or a morgue.
So anyway, the wind was unusually strong and swirling, and then the storm grew in its intensity and their visibility decreased. So it caused them to veer more westward than their original intended path. So we're already fucking up. So not wanting to waste the day's effort, they pitched their tent along the slope of Kholat Syakhl in what was an unnamed pass at the time. So this area had no name.
That's some foreshadowing.
Mm-hmm. So
a pass with no name.
Yep. So the average degree
I'm just a girl with no name. What? Anyway.
No. So the average degree of the slope sits at about 25 to 28 degrees. Amongst avalanche experts, the usual degree of a slope that can produce an avalanche is about 30. It's not a hard rule.
Borderline.
It's Yep. So the group dug into the snow, creating a level plain, and pitched their tent. And something in the night scared the group awake, and they were only dressed in their underclothing and pajamas, and it forced them to flee from the back of their tent, which they cut from the inside to escape through. So apart from a tattered tent, and the searchers also found once they arrived, the search and rescue, once they arrived, found a perfectly undisturbed flashlight sitting in a pile of snow with absolutely no snow covering it, with full batteries, along with 8 to 9 sets of footprints, most barefoot or socked, and 1 set was booted, leading away about 500 meters from the tent. So they also were heading toward the relative safety of a cedar tree line below, albeit it was not toward their cache of supplies that they had left behind, because they'd veered so toward
so far west.
Yeah. I think they were probably the trees. We have to go that way quickly to try to find our shit, except they didn't realize they'd veered off their path.
Yeah.
It's my opinion.
Uh-huh.
That literally doesn't matter. But I think that might be a contributing factor.
Yeah.
They were trees, we got to head that way. And then they didn't know where they were. Because it was nighttime. So the opened end of the tent, the front end of the tent, wound up being covered with 15 to 20 centimeters of snow. But their skis were still poking straight up, undisturbed, out of the snow surrounding the tent. And then February 12th, the day that they were supposed to send the telegraph, came and went, with no word from the Dyatlov group. So at first, no one was worried, knowing the expeditions like this can sometimes have delays. And he also told
that it might be late.
They might be late. And then by February 21st, the families of the group started to worry. So parents...
That's tomorrow.
That is tomorrow. See, I told you it was coming up.
Yep.
So parents were soon petitioning the school trying to get a search team to the pass. So a team of fellow students and teachers, there's about 46 in total, set out on February 20th, which is today, right?
Yeah.
So they started out today, like 60 some odd years ago, trying to get a search team to the pass. So soon other groups of followers rescued. The alcohol finally hit me. Soon other groups of rescuers followed. There was a group of prison guards from a nearby prison and also the military. So some of the students of the Dyatlov group that they had, like the Dyatlov group had ran into at the start of their trek also joined in because they knew just how bad the conditions in that exact area were.
Had been, yeah.
As they were there during that time. And then eventually the Communist Party themselves wound up sending out a group of men from the military that included a plane and a helicopter. And this is the hanger I'm going to end you at.
This is where we're going to be professional podcasters and have a hard reset.
Yep, we're going to break here.
Okay.
There's so much.
Right? I was going to say
That's the basics.
Yeah, the backstory.
Yeah, that's why I started with my sources first.
Team of Russian kids go out on a hike to earn a badge or to earn like essentially credits towards a
piece
degree.
of paper.
Yeah.
No, it's not even credits towards a degree.
Yeah,
they were just like this. They were in a club and was like, this sounds like fun.
Yep. And then while on said journey, they end up getting displaced, we'll say.
That's a cute way to put it.
Isn't it? And yeah, the explanation, the reason, all that.
There's so many theories.
Is to follow.
Yep.
And you can make your own crazy hypotheses. Hypotheses? Hypotheses.
Yep.
So, anyway,
super anticlimactic.
if you made it this far, good luck, and we'll be back for more.
Yes.
And we're going to try to keep this into like 3 succinct parts.
I think it will be 3 succinct parts.
So that will be episodes 80, 81, and 82.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Let me go. This is our first 3-parter.
It is. Maybe the last part of, maybe this is one of the ones we'll record on our 1-year anniversary, maybe. Or it'll be the next episode after that.
It will be.
Or we'll just go live and do whatever.
With no backstory. But come join us about this discussion. I hope you listened to the last 2 episodes.
Yeah. Bring your notes, bring your homework, bring your crazy theories.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep. There's 75 or more of them.
Yes.
We're not going to discuss that many.
We're going to get to 100 by the time we're done with it.
Yep.
Anyway, thanks for listening. And come back for part 2.
And if you've made it this far.
I already said congrats.
No, you didn't.
I said come back.
Close enough.
Good, yes.
Okay.
Anywho.
Scott needs to sleep.
Oh.
We'll see you guys soon.
He does, but yeah. That's a separate yet related note.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Bye. Oof, that was terrible. Thanks for listening to our terrible podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, or wherever you like to listen. Feel free to follow us on Twitter at TMSTPod.
And if you'd like to support the show, you can find us on Patreon at Tell Me Something Terrible.